Hello everyone, Steve Wiss here, joined by Kevin Harper, and we're here to preview the latest ICC Champions Trophy match previews here, brought to you by All Sports Betting Podcasts. And we've got an absolutely massive match to talk about on Sunday. It's between India and Pakistan at Edgbaston. Now, it's not too often these two sides actually meet, is it, Kev? So, it's a real, what's the word, when they actually play each other in these days, a match to savour.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an event, Steve, within an event. I mean, you say it's not very often that these two meet, but this is now the 6th ICC tournament in a row that they're meeting. So, it may well be that hot balls were put into the hat to ensure that these two come out alongside each other, because it is cricket's biggest rivalry. England and Australia would dispute that, obviously, but there's a little bit more tolerance between those two sides. These two sides can't really tolerate each other. They're fiercely competitive. This match will be all about pride and passion. I don't think the performance will matter to either, which might actually be a good thing given that it's first game of the tournament. It's all about getting the W.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to be honest, I don't think England-Australia is anywhere near close to this, is it? I mean, you've got millions and millions of people, tuning into this game. And it's a shame they don't face each other much outside of the ICC trophies. I mean, I remember the days when India used to, go to Pakistan and vice versa. That doesn't happen nowadays, does it? So the two teams don't really know each other that particularly well, do they?
No, they don't. And it's not just because they don't play each other regularly anymore. It's also because Pakistan players aren't invited to many T20 competitions. It's only really the Pakistan Super League, and one or two of them are allowed in T20 Blast and the Caribbean Premier League. But of course, the Indian players don't play those two tournaments, so they rarely see each other. In fact, they'll probably only see each other every ICC event when they play each other. I don't think they'll take an awful lot of working each other out, though, I have to say, even though they've not seen too much of each other. These two sides have been pretty set in stone for a while, really. They don't have to have gone through YouTube too deeply if they want to watch the other one play.
Yeah, I mean, let's just talk about India. And, everyone knows about India, don't they? It's they're a well-known side. They're 1 point 4-4 favourites to win this game. And that's probably justified, isn't it? Because they have so many top-class players throughout the whole ranks, and big game players as well. And you've got to say they're deserving favourites, haven't you?
Yeah, I think they are deserving favourites. I mean, we're not. There's no point in me sort of recovering old ground, really. I'm very keen on their chances, not just in this match, but in the tournament as a whole. And in fairness, I came close to backing them on the handicap here. The only reason I've not backed them on the handicap is because it's the first game. If this was game 3, for example, I'd certainly have no problem backing them on the handicap. I think there is no major weakness. I mean, we highlighted one possible weakness the other night. Maybe another weakness could be that their 6 batsmen are all batsmen, with the exception of Yuvraj Singh, and he doesn't bowl very much these days. So it is a risk in the modern world to go into a game with only 5 bowling options. If you think back a few years, they used to have sort of Suresh Raina, who would turn his arm over a little bit, didn't they? And a couple of others who were capable of bowling filthy spin. They don't really have that now, though. Virat Kohli, he can bowl if needed, but I very much doubt that he's going to bowl as captain. MS Dhoni, of course, has bowled in England before, but he won't be bowling in this game. And really, there isn't anyone else. So the 5 bowlers that India pick in this game are going to have to be bang on it. But they've got an abundance of depth to pick those 5 bowlers from. So, what you gain on the swings, you lose on the roundabouts, and really and truly, you're probably where you should be. So, they look the standout class act to me.
Yeah, there's not really an awful lot of question marks about India, though, are they? We move to Pakistan, and really the whole outcome of this game depends which sort of version of Pakistan turns up. They're a real enigma sort of team. They can perform at any sort of level depending on the day itself. How well do you feel like they match up to India?
Which sort of batting lineup turns up for Pakistan? More to the point, Steve. Very rarely do you see a Pakistan side bowl badly. Just doesn't happen. They're suited to all sorts of conditions. But they can be brought with the bat, and they can be the bat. Generally, it's all about the start for them. If they're under pressure from the get-go, they'll fall in a heap. But if they get off to a good start, then they're flamboyant, extravagant batsmen can showcase their talents. The likes of Shoaib Malik, Sarfaraz Ahmed, Haris Sohail, etc., etc., and they're perfectly capable of scoring 300. That isn't a problem. They're a little bit old school though, Pakistan. They're not the modern type of ODI side, and maybe that's why they're languishing down at number 8 in the world rankings. These days, most teams send in an opening batsman, if not two, to give it a bit of crash bang wallop, and they keep on coming all the way down. But Pakistan don't do that. They don't really have what you would call an out and out big hitter. They have a lot of players who are stroke players who are very, very good. Let's not take anything away from them, but they're unlikely to score sort of 80 and 40 that most teams in the modern world have. So they play their cricket differently, but of course they don't need to go chasing the big totals. If we use an IPL analogy, then they're the kind of Mumbai Indians of the IPL. They've got a bowling attack where you can take a few off of par because they can bowl sides out. So from that point of view, I think they match up pretty well to India, to answer your question. Their strength is with the ball, against India's strength being with the bat. But it's all about their mentality with the bat, Pakistan. As I say, if they're strong mentally and they get off to a solid start and they don't get stuck into a hole, then there's every chance they're going to go well. But if they lose a couple of early wickets and they get into a bunker like sides have done, then it could go west quite quickly.
It's really going to be an absolutely intriguing game. You only got one pick for the match. Shikhar Dhawan over 30.5 runs. You've actually backed him for the tournament outright itself. But you feel in this game, this line is a bit too low.
Yeah, I've only got one bet for the game, Steve. I've not had the best of it in the first two games. I've actually had plenty of bets in winning positions and they've just not come through. Obviously, the sixes in the first game they should have won, and Sri Lanka were well set to make 275 on Saturday, only to fall apart once Dickwella went. So I'll try and build a little bit of momentum. The other reason, of course, why I'm not going too heavy in this is I'm loaded up on India enough as it is in this tournament, both with India, Shikhar Dhawan and Jasprit Bumrah. So I'm just going to sit back and hopefully watch those enhance themselves like a few other outrights have done already this week. You're right about Shikhar Dhawan. I do think his line is a bit low. He averages over 40 in ODI cricket against Pakistan. That's not too shabby at any stage. Of course, if you're picking a side these days, you don't look at average, you look at strike rate. But as gamblers, we look at averages, particularly when we're comparing it with a run line. So he only needs an average day to cover this. He's also got a pretty good record at Edgbaston as well. He made 97 not out here the last time he played here, and he's covered this in the other two innings he's played on this ground as well, 31 and 40 odd in those two innings. So stats wise, he ticks all of the boxes. He certainly ticks all the boxes in the form credentials. Had a really good IPL, didn't he? Two decent warm-up knocks, a 40 odd and a 60 odd. Looks to be hitting the ball really, really well. I mean, you know, I made my case for him in the Outright podcast, and there's no reason to change that. We've seen already in this tournament that there's nothing in it for the new ball bowlers. The opening batsmen have got free rein to do as they please, and we've already seen plenty of openers go past 30 in the three matches in this tournament. I mean, you've only got to look at sort of Alex Hales, Tamim Iqbal, Dickwella, Taranga, Hashim Amla. You know, the list keeps on going, doesn't it? Luke Ronchi. So we're only adding Shikhar Dhawan to the list, really.
Now, Shikhar Dhawan is, you can get 4.5 on him to top score for India in this game. Would you put anyone off that one?
No, I wouldn't put anyone off of that. The only thing you would say is this is a mighty strong Indian batting lineup, isn't it? And there's plenty of scoring power a little bit below. I would imagine Dhawan would be the glue to the bigger hitters. But no, I wouldn't put anyone off of that. Anyone in this Indian side capable of top scoring on any given day, really. If your luck's in, your luck's in. But I think against the new ball won't be a bad time to bat here. I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah, it's a really, really hard betting market. Is the top India batsman. Top Pakistan batting. We know you've taken Babar Azam for the tournament itself. Now I've got to say I've always been a fan of Azhar Ali, as you know. He is the joint favourite, and I could see him going well in this sort of big game. You know, big sort of big game mentality. The top players turn up, Kev.
They do. They very much do, and he'll be helped, of course, by no longer being the captain of this side. Yeah, I wouldn't put anyone off of Azhar Ali. I think Babar Azam's a real class act, I must admit. Maybe, though, this is a game for an older head, an older, calmer, maturer head. Maybe Shoaib Malik's the man. He's played plenty of T20 cricket for the Birmingham Bears in recent times, so he'll know this ground like the back of his hand. It might just be a time for him to fire.
Yeah, okay. Well, thanks for your thoughts, Kev. And finally, before we go, who's going to win?
I'm going to stick my neck on the line and say India will win the game.
Yeah, there you go. Not sitting on the fence there, but you can never underestimate Pakistan. Really intriguing one. I've got to say, I'm looking forward to watching this. Absolutely. Can't wait for it. So thanks for that, and we'll be back on Monday for the next podcast. Best of luck with the bet you've got there. Shikhar Dhawan over 30.5 runs. We'll see you on Monday, everyone. So take care. Goodbye.
Cheers, Steve. Let's hope he goes beyond 130.5, not just 30.5.